Queen Helen material is that Ananias first meets her son, Isates. If you want to see this, it's in the Antiquities. You have a copy of the Antiquities here. You can look up Ananias in the, or Isates would be easier in your index, and you'll be able to go right to the story of where Isates meets Ananias and is converted by him. And it'll be in your index. In any case, I don't have the map up here. I should probably put the map up here now. Whoops, sorry. I'm dropping a pin on the floor here. Let's draw a map. I hate to do anything. The guy will come in here and make me erase it. Got me totally spooked. Here's the two rivers, right? So this is Basra down here. So this would be Adiabene up here, which is today Kurdistan. And this river goes over here into Syria. This is the Euphrates. And here's Edessa over here. So this king is the great king of the peoples beyond the Euphrates, including, no doubt, that group of peoples. So it says that Isates first met Ananias down here someplace. I think he says the name of the town is Charax-Spasini, which is on the mouth of the Euphrates, and it's Basra, I think, but it was also originally called, Antiochia Charax, or somewhere near there. And then they go back up here north. So they're moving around this framework quite a bit here. This is Iraq. So that's where he first meets Ananias in the story. And then he comes up here, and Helen is somewhere, she's married to a king called Basius, which is seems to be a variation on Monobasis, but it's not clear if that's what it is or not. Anyway, that seems garbled. We don't know who he is. In any case, they had big harems, these kings at that time, with eunuchs and everything else. And they also had sister marriage, too. And the Syriac sources say that Helen was Agabus's sister, and they were married. So they have Helen in the Syriac sources being married to Agabus. And Agabus is one of the Syriac kings that they're written. But there's numerous of them. There's Agabus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it seems to be like a title, like Caesar or Herod or something like that, or a name that was repeatedly used, the same as Monobasis is. So I'm not sure it's a title. I don't know what it is. I don't know the language. If you can do more work on that and find out what these Monobasis and Agabus names are, that would be fun to find out in Syriac materials. The deeper in the Syriac materials you can go on this, the more information would be really interesting. And it would interest you too. Now, one of these that he mentions here is Akbar Ushama. Akbar Ushama is the one that's being converted here, and that seems to mean in Syriac the black. Akbar the Black. Now, I don't know if that means he's black-hearted or he's black-skinned. I assume he's dark or black. And I think that's why in Acts, and other reasons too, as I'll tell you, Philip meets the Ethiopian queen's eunuch, because Acts thinks that we're getting conversions of queens in Ethiopia, not up in Syria, when in fact what we're getting is conversions of queens in Syria, and has nothing to do with Ethiopia being converted at this time, nor any queens from Ethiopia, except in the imagination of Acts writer, who is confusing the story of Solomon and Sheba with the story of Queen Helen in northern Syria. And I know that's very complicated. I just said a mouthful here. But I'm saying these are the materials that you can start to bring to play. You say, well, you went far. Yeah, I did, because I know what the answers are by now. I've thought about it enough. I know what the author of Acts is doing, and I know what he's mistaking. You mean you assume he's mistaking? Well, yeah, I know he's mistaken, and or purposefully or otherwise. We already know he's got the Thomas thing mixed up, and he's got a few other things mixed up, either purposefully or accidentally. I think often purposefully. We want not to think Jesus has a twin brother, and I think that is certainly something that would be at least obscured somewhat, if not rubbed out. Anyway, here's the first Ananias story. Who is Ananias? So in Josephus, Ananias is a merchant who Izadis meets in southern Iraq near the Persian Gulf. Later comes north and introduces him to his mother, and he becomes a teacher of his mother, and she converts to Judaism. And also, Ananias has a colleague in this conversion in Josephus, and guess what? That colleague is not mentioned. His name is not disclosed. If you go to the Acts, I think we'll be clear that the colleague is Paul. But in Josephus, that colleague's name is not mentioned. Only this, that they didn't preach circumcision. That you could convert without circumcision, and we know from Galatians that that's Paul's doctrine. So these things begin to coalesce. You can start to collapse this material into some serious speculation, anyway. Yeah?
Why would he leave him unnamed? I mean, what
I
theory?
don't have the answer to that. You'll have to figure that out. I don't know why. Maybe someone didn't want to name it. I don't know. Anyway, he has a colleague who helps him teach, and the thing is that they teach that you don't have to be circumcised to convert, and that's Paul's doctrine. That doesn't mean that is Paul. I mean, he has a Paul-like colleague, okay? That's, and the reason that maybe he didn't even know who his name was. Maybe he didn't know the name. Maybe he didn't know that this fellow who was working in this area with Ananias was Paul. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine on that. I'm not trying to be hostile. I'm just saying that, you know, it's something you can intuit as well as I can. I'm sure you just actually have a prayer in your mind, you're just voicing it to me because you're asking yourself, and I'm sure your answer will be as good as mine. I don't know the answer, but your answer will be as good. All I can say is that it may not be, but it's somewhat similar because the doctrines are similar. And then they are followed up by a teacher, this is from Josephus and the Talmud now, a more extreme teacher who gets there. And Helen has a horror of circumcision because she says, my countrymen will object and they have a horror of it, and I don't want to put myself in a bad